Hi everybody, Glen Masters here. I want to do a review on this generator. Not something I normally do. My wife and I have another YouTube channel called
Master Adventure.
Please check us out on that one and see how our life is. So this is a Wen df400i. DF is dual fuel for 4,000 watt inverter generator. We bought it new from Amazon in February of 21. Before that, 21? Yeah.
22.
February 21. 21? 22?
I didn't hear.
Yeah, 22. Okay. February 22. We've had it 2.5 years. We know that. Before that, we actually had this little, what is it, 1,500 or 2,000 watt Wen. And we also have a 4,500 watt Wen, just a regular generator, not a inverter. And it's a little loud. It's our backup. And it's also dual fuel, and it has only ever had propane run through it. I've never run gas in it at all, so I don't have to worry about the carburetor getting messed up because it's never had gas in it. But I wanted to do a review on this. I know there's a couple reviews out there. Most of them are people that have bought one and they take them home and they start them up and they run them, and you might get a report after, I don't know, a month or two. And I think there's a couple people that had a report. They did a report after 1 year. I actually didn't really look at all of them. I know there's a few more. When I bought this one, there were not a whole lot of reviews on this generator. The main reason I'm doing this is about a month or so ago, I went out to put gas in it one morning and hit the starter, and it just spun over really fast. And I thought, oh, that's not good. That's not right. So my wife and I discussed it. It's like, we need a bigger generator. We can't run everything that we have. So we do live off grid. We have 2 window units. A small one and a medium-sized one. We have refrigerator, microwave, and my wife's hairdryer, which we all know hairdryers take a lot of power. So we bought a 9500. I'm not really going to tell the brand of it right now, but because I'm still checking it out. I'm going to do a review on it later. We'll see how it lasts. But it runs everything with no load at all, so I'm really happy with it so far. Hopefully it'll turn out like this one. So this generator, like I said, we figured it up, and it's got about 16,000 hours on it, which I think is pretty good for a generator. Like, so we ran it. There were times that it would run for a month nonstop, except for I would change the oil on the weekends. Every weekend I would change the oil on it. I used a higher quality castor oil, high mileage oil for it.
It's important to mention, in our case, we use whole day. Now, normally you buy a generator for emergency.
Yeah, like I said, it was our main power source, and we did, like I said, we ran it 24 hours a day. So like I said, sometimes for a month at a time without ever shutting it off, except for change the oil or when it ran out of ase. And a lot of times I put gas in it before it ever ran out, so it wouldn't run out. But
I'm sure there's another person use only this kind of generator for emergency. It's been 10 years or more.
Yeah, and that's the other nice thing about it. It does have a fuel shut-off switch on it. So I mean, if you run the fuel out of it, or if you run it on propane, and keep the trash out of the carburetor and whatnot, God, there's no telling how many hours you could get and how many years and years it would last. But like I said, it lasted 2.5 years, and so I wasn't really planning on overhauling it when I tore it apart. I was more curious as to what happened, what failed, what went wrong with it. So I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't going to rebuild it. I'm mechanical, and I work on stuff. As you can see, my shop here is full of junk. So I decided to tear it down, and it was a little bit hard getting out of the frame after I finally learned a few things about it and took off some more parts, and my wife helped me get it out the motor out of the frame, and pulled it apart and discovered this. This is the camshaft and cam gear. And as you can see, there's some teeth missing here, which connects to the crankshaft. So the valves weren't opening and closing. And you can see all the metal shavings. Well, what caused that was there's a built-in compression release, like a centrifugal device mounted on the back side of this. Had some little bars and a spring and whatnot. And it came apart. And some of the things it does, which I didn't know at the time until a few days ago, actually reading, is when you go to start it, it goes and it hits compression and it doesn't want to turn over. Or if you try pulling on it, you'll find out that you're hitting the compression on it and it's really hard to pull. Like I said, I didn't know that at the time. I thought maybe the starter was going bad, but it obviously had, the centrifugal part of it had failed probably a month ago or 2 months ago. And I kept running it like this with, unfortunately, metal parts going here and there and everywhere. So it's a 212cc engine, kind of like the Predator or any of the other Chinese clone engines. And I looked around to see if I could find anything. I couldn't find the exact motor. The manufacturer is Rato, R-A-T-O, some Chinese name, Rato. And then it finally dawned on me to contact Wen. I looked in the back of I still have my owner's manual for everything. And I looked in the back of the owner's manual and there's a parts diagram with all the part numbers. So I called Wen and it's like, oh yeah, we can help you out. So they had the head gasket, the ring set, the valve cover gasket, and I have to replace the choke cable. It's kinked, it got kinked and it's messed up. And they were, unfortunately, didn't have a couple of items. The main item being the crankcase cover gasket. So I ordered parts that would fit a Predator and the motors you get from Harbor Freight. And luckily, the side cover gasket was the same. I actually ordered a gasket set, and it came with the seals. The bearings seemed good and clean. I washed them out real good. There was nothing clicking or grinding on them, so taking a chance on it. Like I told my wife, if we get another 10-15 hours out of it, great. If we don't, I'll throw it in the trash. But it was more of a I want to see kind of thing. And I ended up spending about $50 on parts for the entire thing. And after struggling with a couple of hoses that I wasn't paying attention where they went, I finally got it all back together, and I mean, it fired right up. It's not broke in yet. I've only got maybe 10 minutes of runtime on it. But I'm really impressed with this generator. I'm impressed with how well it's held up. The only complaint I had about their Wen generators in general, and that's all three of them, is their starter ropes. Their starter ropes, I hate to say it, are crap. I've replaced the starter ropes on all three of my generators. That's something they really could look into improving. But the camshaft that I went back with has a solid metal gear, and I'm guessing that probably the reason they used a plastic here was just to keep the engine a little quieter than. But I can't really tell, especially after putting it all back together. And it actually seems quieter now than before it died. It was getting a little clattery and a little noisy, but so like I said, it's quiet. It's pretty quiet. I'm happy with it, and it was fairly quiet when we were using it. So yeah, like I said, look into Wen. I really wish they would have had at least a 6500 or a 7500 watt inverter, but they don't, because I would have jumped on it in a heartbeat.
Like, I have a funny story to tell.
What's your story? Tell the story.
One night you came to the bed like at 2 a.m. and said, I fixed it.
Yeah.
This man is crazy.
I got it all back together, and like I said, I couldn't get it to start and run right, and I was laying in bed, and it was really making me mad. I'm like, because it was pouring gasoline out of the carburetor. I thought, really shouldn't be doing that. So, and I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. Finally dawned on me what I had done. I had two hoses, like I said, switched. The hose going to the gas tank, it's supposed to come from this selector switch. That way it shuts the gas off and on going to the carburetor. And I had the hose that went into the propane system directly into the gas can, the gas tank. So yeah, I jumped out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I came out here, switched the hoses, put the gas tank back on it, and fired it up. I'm like, great. And then came back to bed. I'm like, here, honey, look. Showed her the video of it running. She's like, okay, go back to bed.
I told him, you can wait for tomorrow. No, I can't sleep.
Not one. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, all right. Like I said, any questions? Hit me up. And like I said, Wen's real happy, real easy to deal with. Their phone numbers in their book and whatnot. So, in fact, I guess see you right here. WenProducts.com. Zoom in on that. People see that. So, like see, we've had it for a while. So, but yeah, I think they've changed the model now. I think it's a different model, been modified slightly, and it may actually be a little bit bigger. I'm not sure. But all right, that's it. Thanks.
Bye, guys.